Welcome to the Daily Present with John Ball. Today I'm talking about playing the fool and why I think it's important to do that as a speaker, presenter, and maybe in some of life altogether. Not to just be an idiot about stuff, but to be willing to look a bit silly sometimes and to play along with that and to give yourself that ability in speaking. I'm going to tell you why I think that's important after the titles. So talking about playing the fool today, join me after the titles. I'll see you in just a moment. Welcome to the show. Great to see you, whatever time of day it is for you. If it's morning, good morning. If it's afternoon, good afternoon. If it's some other time, well, whatever time it is, even if you're watching in the middle of the night, it's great to have you joining me. And today I'm talking about playing the fool and why I think that's important. Now, what made me think to talk about this today is that it's my birthday and I decided that I was going to post something online. I don't often make a thing about my birthday. I don't really make a fuss about it. And this year is not much of an exception, but it's an opportunity to at least have a bit of fun, even though I'm working all day and doing projects, speaking with clients and doing group calls and things like that. I still want to have a bit of fun and a bit of playfulness. So I did this little thing on Snapchat and posted it out to things just as a bit. So just a little bit of silliness, a little bit of messing around. But there are people who wouldn't be willing to do that kind of thing, especially if they're known as professional business speakers and the like. So if you have a certain kind of image that doesn't really allow you to have fun, you might feel that you can't step outside of that. But I do believe it's critical to be able to do that because it adds another facet, an important facet to your ability to present. And that's the ability to have a full emotional range from serious and professional when you need to be and when it's appropriate, to fun, playful, and even clownish when that's appropriate as well. Because sometimes it's really good to make your audience laugh. And it's sometimes okay if they're laughing at you, if you've intended for them to be laughing at you. If they're laughing at you unintentionally, well, maybe that's not so good and it might be a bit embarrassing. But be okay with that, people laughing, even if it is at you rather than with you, if you've created that opportunity for them to do so, because it just makes sense with what you're doing. This can be especially important in storytelling so that you can be more playful, be a bit of a clown, a joker, and go all over the place when you're storytelling and take the emotional range of your story. Stories, really, when you're delivering stories from a platform, whether it be video or in person, should be a bit of an emotional journey for people, a bit of a roller coaster with some highs and some lows. And if your story is all delivered very professionally and very forthrightly and matter-of-factly, people are going to miss out on a lot of that emotional journey that you could be taking them on just by increasing your level of expressiveness and being willing to play the fool a little bit more. So if you really want to open yourself up to having a full expression of emotional repertoire in your presenting, in your speaking, then it's essential to work on being the fool. Improvise a bit, play around with it in some safe environments so that you start to feel confident with it first, perhaps before you just decide, well, I'm going to take my usual speech and just throw something in. Might end up being wildly inappropriate. So please don't do that, but do practice with it, play with it, improv, use your improv skills, take an improv class if that's going to help you. But this emotional range thing is a big problem for many speakers and presenters who don't have it and are just doing serious business presenter and trying to portray that kind of image. It's not fun. It might look very professional, but it doesn't have range. And it does also mean you're likely to only ever be having full-on serious conversations with people. You're going to miss out on a lot of fun yourself. So, let's not take life quite so seriously. More importantly, don't take yourself so bloody seriously, because you might be the person standing in the way. in fact, almost certainly, you are the person standing in the way between yourself and a greater emotional range in your presentations. So allow yourself that capacity, stretch your range, play with this stuff and utilize it where it's appropriate. It's going to massively increase your draw and your ability as a speaker, as a storyteller, which is really a critical part of being a speaker and presenter these days. And let's allow ourselves the opportunity to play the fool, and don't be worried about looking a bit silly sometimes, playing along with things, trying things out just because they're there to try out, and risking that it might not pay off, that it might go wrong. As long as you're not out to upset or offend anyone, or if you're looking at things and thinking, oh, that could really be misinterpreted, be careful about those things. That's all I'm going to say. Like, don't be too oversensitive about it. Like, you're never going to please everyone anyway. There's always someone who's going to look to be offended, whatever you do, but don't set out to do that, please. And do your best to have some sensitivity around these things and treat people with respect. But that doesn't mean you can't play the clown. You can be the butt of the joke. You can be the person who takes it to those extremes without being offensive, without being inappropriate. It does take a bit of practice, and it does take some skill and experience, but it's how you get good at anything. You practice it, you try it out. Improv is a really powerful tool for speakers. We need it. We have to be able to do it. And if you don't have this fun, clownish aspect available to you, that part of improvisation is going to be cut off to you, and it's limiting. And I don't want you as a speaker to ever feel that you're limited. So let's make sure we're not. Let's practice this. If you want help practicing it, get in touch. I have no issues about looking the fool and playing around. In fact, I love the humor and the clownishness of this stuff so much. And if you watch any of my other podcasts, if you watch the Speaking of Influence or listen to Speaking of Influence at all, you'll know from my conversations with comedians and humorous speakers, people like Michael Kerr and Jessica Breitenfeld, the clowning around aspect is really important. So check out those episodes and play with this, have some fun. Let's not take ourselves so seriously. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my birthday, even though I'm going to be working. I want you to enjoy the day as well. Have some fun, have some playfulness, and drop me a line if you want to know any more about playing the fool. And maybe you want me to come and play the fool for you and your organization. Let me know. Right now, though, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it's time to get back to work. See you soon. Got it.